Hello and welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Sotac SRO, which is a replica of the Trijicon SRO. So this is the sight here. Let's talk about why I bought it, how much it costs, what the features are and what's going to happen to it. First off, why did I buy it? Well, unfortunately the RMR that I've been running for a long time, the down button kind of came off. I realised that I can glue this back on, but you know what I thought? I've been using this for a couple of years now, and why not have something a little bit different? Why not have a bit of a change? So I had a quick look and I thought the SRO was really cool. So it came in about £30. They do two variants, so they do an aluminium one like this, and they do a nylon fibre one, which is about £5 cheaper, a little bit lighter. This one with the battery included comes in at like 44 grams, so that's not too bad. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the one off my Loki here, and we're going to use the parts that they've given you in the box here to install this onto my Glock. So we'll be back in a moment. They actually give you two Allen keys in the box. They also give you a Glock mount, and they give you a Picatinny rail mount. So for me, on this, because this is a slide that is already cut for a Trijicon style RMR, or a Trijicon footprint RMR, hopefully this replica SRO is going to drop straight on. Now, one of the features that I particularly like about this new SRO is the fact that you don't actually have to take the sight off in order to change the battery. Now, obviously on the real steel optic, the battery life on one of these is sort of like 6,000 hours or something ridiculous. So, you know, the chance of you actually needing to replace this battery on a real one is pretty slim. People would normally do it maybe like once a year. But for us people that play Airsoft, actually if you leave that on for more than a week or so, the battery's going to die. They're not as advanced. So this is the footprint that we're working with. So actually I've only got two posts here. I don't actually need to worry about the ones at the front. So hopefully this SRO sight, there we go, it will just slip straight on. So all I need to do is take the included screws and pop them in. So I am going to choose to use the screws that actually were provided by Sotac. So I'm going to go for the slightly shorter ones that are basically the same length as the ones that I just took out. So let's get this mounted. I think it's looking pretty cool. So this obviously comes in at sort of like, what did I say, £30–35, maybe a little bit more with shipping. That's actually pretty reasonable. Okay, so actually the screws that they've provided are the right length, but they're ever so slightly too thick to go on my particular slide. So what I'm going to do is just use the ones that I took out that I had on my previous RMR. So I did mention the big advantage of this one is the fact that you don't actually need to take the sight off the gun in order to change the battery, which I think is fantastic. You know, on a number of occasions I've managed to leave my red dot on and gone back to use it, and unfortunately the battery on it has died. What's cool about this SRO is the fact that it has such a big window, but actually for this Airsoft model it's not actually quite as good. The Airsoft one doesn't quite match up to the real deal. So I had a look at Bada Bing's video. He was lucky enough to pick up a real steel Trijicon SRO, which I think is really cool, but I'm currently don't have the budget to be able to afford one of those just at the moment, so I'm going to stick with this replica. So it looks pretty cool. The markings are laser engraved, but they're kind of weak in all fairness. So speaking of weak markings, you can kind of see what I mean here. The real one is like embossed, whereas this is just like laser engraved. Got one click for one MOA. We'll test that out in a little bit when we adjust the sight.
got windage, elevation there. On the other side, 2.5 MOA, made in the USA, Trijicon, and the barcode. It's nice to see that bottom all sealed up. You saw the bottom of the other one, not in great condition. Nice clicky controls, which I always like, and you see that big window to look through there.
Let's just go to a bit of footage that I've already done where we can zoom in on it, and hopefully you'll be able to see that actually it's the biggest problem with this thing is the fact that the dot size is really inconsistent in that window. Now, if I'm going to try and get this correct, you know what, I think that's pretty much as good as it's going to get. The windage and elevation adjustments do appear to actually do something, which is great for someone like me that will actually use a red dot. That's really important. So it does have 5 power adjustment settings on it, but those power adjustment settings are all daylight and low light. There aren't any that can really be used under night vision, as far as I can kind of tell. So yeah, the new style for my Glock. I think it's really cool. I think the fact that it comes with a couple of mounts in the box, so you can put it onto a standard style Glock, or you can put it onto, I don't know, if you get the right mount, you can put it onto whatever you want. It's nice that it also comes with a Picatinny mount as well, which means that you can obviously then put it onto a subgun, you put it onto a rifle, do kind of whatever you want with it. I think actually for the money, it's great. So full retail price of the real SRO is something like £700. I've seen them for as little as £500, as little as. That's a lot of money for something, especially if you're going to take it out and game it. Now, it's one thing having these things at home and just, you know, enjoying them in the back garden and, you know, not taking them out into a competitive environment. And when I say that, I mean like an airsoft game, a war. If you're going to be taking it to do competition shooting, absolutely, you know, why not have like the most Gucci optics that you can? And because you're still going to make the most of it, and it's, you know, that's going to help you. But, you know, if you just want it for the look, and you're not as kind of bothered about that functionality, you don't want to be crying on the way home if this thing gets like shot out. I think for airsoft purposes, this is actually a pretty good sight. I've been quite impressed with it. It's a shame about that inconsistency on the dot size. I don't like that particularly, but actually that's kind of I'm normally, you know, I've set this up now, so it's basically co-witnessed. So I don't know whether you will be able to see through there, the co-witnessed. It's very hard for me to tell whether you can see it or not, but either way, it is. It's pretty nicely co-witnessed there. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to run some rounds through it, see if we get any change in the zero on this, because that's really going to be the test. But I must say, you know, it's on the slide, nice and secure. Yeah, I'm going to take this out for the next few games and see how it does, and hopefully feedback some cool results. So yeah, look out for this if you see me out and about. This is how you're going to see my Glock from now on. Is it worth it? That's the big question. Yeah, for the look, it is. Even though the functionality isn't that good, it's not as good as the real steel. For the look, yeah, it gets my vote. So this has been my little look at the Sotac SRO, a cool little reflex optic that you can put on a pistol, put on a rifle, put on a subgun. Small enough, but with a big enough window that, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Possibly the only thing that is cooler is maybe the aim point acro. So you do, and this is what I found with using like RMRs on pistols in the past, you do sometimes manage to like if you've got the pistol close in, you can be breathing on the back of that lens, and you can actually start to fog the back of that lens up. And when you go to pick it up, it's just kind of like it blooms that dot out for the whole sight, and you've kind of impeded your ability to shoot well. So they're not perfect. Also, if you use these out in the rain and in wet conditions, like, as much as I've never had them kind of like flicker or anything like that, you will get droplets on the lenses, and it's going to be almost harder to shoot than with iron sights. You know, the whole point of having this red dot is that you can pick it up, and once you're used to picking up a red dot sight on a pistol, then it's, you know, it's second nature. But to start off with, when you first put a red dot sight on, you will find it quite odd, because you're used to picking up that sight picture really normally, and all of a sudden you're trying to, you know, find the dot. If you practice enough, it's not really an issue. And actually, I find red dots on pistols kind of handy. A lot of the time you are just snap shooting, so you pull the gun up and you it's all to do with like your speed versus your like distance to the target, and how much you actually need to like get that really good sight picture before you squeeze the shot off. If you're 2 feet away from someone, you just need to pull the trigger. If you're 20 meters away, you might need to get that gun up, get those sights on, in which case you want to be able to do that nice and fast. In most circumstances, this is going to help to do that, and it also helps you to dial down that accuracy. You may have noticed on here, I kind of mentioned it, but 2.5 MOA is the dot size. I can't really, hard thing to tell, but the dot is certainly small enough. And you know, if I'm looking into the daylight from a dark room, I'm getting a nice tight sharp dot there. So for me, it's a win. That's it, guys. Yeah, if you see one, don't be shy, but do be aware of the problems that you're going to get with this, and don't feel ripped off when it's not quite as good as the real steel, because it's not the real steel. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. I certainly have. I'm going to enjoy using this, and hopefully I'll see you guys out soon. Take care.